Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Hytale modding guide. Today I'm going to be showing you how to import your assets into the game and use them as weapons in Hytale. So to begin with, we're going to be making a simple sword using my key model, which I created in my free time, and you can see it here spinning in the background. So to begin with, I just want to let you know a few things. Before you do anything, if you're wondering where all the assets for Hytale are stored, if you go and open up the Hytale launcher, and then click the settings and go to Open Directory, what you will see here is if you go to Install, Release, Package, Game, Latest, you have assets.zip. If you open this assets.zip, it might take a minute because it's a huge folder. It has every single block texture all here. It has every single character model, animation, and everything included within the base game, all available for you to open up, take a look at, and figure out how to manipulate. If you're trying to get any reference to anything, it is a very handy way to pull some things and stitch it together to create your own custom items. I highly recommend, if you're new to anything related to Hytale, and you're not too sure on how to go about making models, styles, or anything, just go here first, go to Common, and pull some of the models. You can also go to Server, and this is where you can see how the models are integrated within the game. So, for example, with our block that we had previously, this is where the actual information, the JSON file storing the block information, is stored. Anyways, onto the video. So to begin, we're going to open up our Blockbench model. So for me, it's the model in here. It is my key.bb model. For you, you may have a different model that you want to work with. I want to turn this key into a sword. In order to do that, the first thing we have to do is, if your model is from before the plugin existed, go to File, go to Plugins, and check that you have the Hytale Models plugin. If you do, go to File, Convert Project, and then change it to a Hytale prop. Once you have it converted, what you can do is, you can go File, export as Hytale blocky model, and then export it to your designated folder. So for me, I'm going to export the key as key_sword.blocky model, and I'm going to save that. And once that's saved, I'm going to right click the texture, I'm going to click Save As, and I'm going to go and save it in the same file location as the exact same name, key_sword. Now, remember, capital K and capital S and the underscore between. You have to have the naming convention this way for Hytale, so capitals for every word and underscores between them. Once it's done, you can open up Hytale like this, go to the settings, open the directory, and once this is open, what you want to do is click on user data, then go to mods. You're going to create a new folder, and you're going to name it whatever you want your mod to be. So for me, the mod is called Golden Key Sword. And then inside that folder, we're going to create a common and a server folder. I completely forgot, but we also need to include our manifest.json data as well. I have a template down in the description if you want to just download that, and I'm just going to paste my one in here. So once you have that set up, you can open that up, and this is what it looks like. So you have your group name. So for me, it's just Working On It Studios. The name of the mod, we're going to call it Golden Key. And then you can give it a description as well. You can also add in authors and also a website as well if you want to. Now back onto the rest of the video. In our server folder, we're going to make a folder called item. Inside item, we're going to add items. Inside items, we're going to add a folder called weapons. And inside weapons, we're going to give a folder for the weapon we're making. Key_sword. And then we're going to go back to server. And we're also going to add a folder called languages. Inside languages, a folder called en-us with a capital US. And then we're going to make a file called server.lang. So to make this file, just do new text document and then server and then change it to .lang. You're going to open your server.lang with either Visual Studio Code or any other Notepad editor, such as Notepad or Notepad++. we're going to type in items dot key underscore sword dot name, and then do equals, and we're going to call it a golden key. And we're going to save that. Once that's saved, you can close out of it. You're going to go back to your mod directory. So for us, golden key sword. And now we're going to go into common. We're going to right click a new folder called icons. And then we're going to right click a new folder called items again. We're going to open items, and we're going to do weapons. Once you have weapons, you're going to go and get your model. So for me, it is in here. It's in guide video and in key. So I have key underscore sword underscore blocky model and a PNG, which is also key underscore sword dot PNG. You're going to drop these into your weapons folder. So they'll appear like this. Once everything is set up here, you can open up Hytale itself. So once you've opened up Hytale, you're going to go to worlds. You're going to create a new world. In creative, you're going to go to settings. And you're going to select the mod that you just created. So we have golden key here by me. You're going to check mark that. And you're going to click apply settings. And you're going to create this world. Once you're in your creative world, you're going to press enter and do /op self, as it prevents any future bugs. And you're going to continue forward until you're in the world. Once you are in the world itself, you're going to press tab. You're going to go to your creative tools, assets, and then the asset editor app. Now, I broke it down in the previous video, and I will again here. For the basic guides, I'm going to break it down in each of them, but after that, I won't be breaking it down. So we have our server, which is everything that was in the asset folder that I showed you at the beginning that is related to all the JSON files, all the stuff in the game. And then we also have the common folder. This is where all the textures, all the models are stored for the game as well. So if you need to find anything, a very useful tip is to search up template underscore, and this will give you template versions of every single item in the game to mess around with. Now, if you're using a template weapon, they're not going to include any of the information for damage, so I do not recommend to use them just for the moment. Instead, we're going to use the iron sword as our template for our golden key. So to create our golden key, we're going to click up here. Once we click on our mod, we're going to go to item. Then we're going to go to item again, weapons, key underscore sword, and we're going to create an item in the folder. We're going to use key underscore sword as our unique asset ID. And with that, we're going to copy an asset from Hytale, item, and you can see every item here. What we're going to do is we're going to scroll down until we find a weapon. Scroll down again until we find sword. And scroll down till we find what sword we want to use. There are several other styles, but we're going to use the weapon underscore sword underscore iron for the moment. Once that's done, you'll see everything here in reference, and you're going to create. Once you create it, you won't see anything pop up. However, we can fix that really quick. We're going to click on rendering. We're going to go to item model. We're going to click the drop down. Then where Hytale is, we'll click on that and then go to our own mod. Go to items, weapons, and we have the block model here. Now we're going to go to texture, the drop down again, switch it to our mod, items, weapons, and we're going to click the PNG texture. However, we don't have any icon for our weapon still visible. We're going to click show all properties, click this pen beside the icon, and that will bring up this visualizer so we can create the icon for our weapon. Feel free to mess around with this whatever way you want. So once you're happy with how your icon looks, you can click save icon and that will update it for you. Now, what we can do is we can equip our item and see if it appears in game. So hit equip item, then go back to Hytale, and voila, would you see this? We have our weapon in game. Now, there are a few issues, but we're going to fix that shortly. So the icon does not appear, as we can see. If you want to fix that, all you have to do is leave and rejoin, and that will fix it. Once you're back in the world, you'll see that the icon is now visible. However, there are still a few issues, such as the way the item is held in our hand. To fix this, we're going to go and open up the asset editor again. We could manually do it here. However, there is a very handy trick. If we go back to our folder where our mod is stored. We go to common and we go to our items and our weapon. In real time, while working in Hytale, we can open up the file in Blockbench. So drag and drop your file into Blockbench, and once you have it there, you're going to be able to freely edit it. So I've done this 3 times because the audio did not record. So I'm going to show you how to fix this really quick. We're going to remove all of the subfolders that I had here. We're going to select everything and add it to a new group. And then we're going to make sure main has the pivot point at 0 and 0. And then once we have it at 0, 0, we have main and the other bone. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our separate bone. We're going to move it down. However, we can adjust the pivot point here so that we can use the end of the key as our end piece. Once that's done, I'm going to rotate it, by 90 this way. I'm going to move, check where the pivot is. The pivot is here, so we want to move out to here a little bit more. And once we've moved it, we can save, reopen Hytale itself, and the key is now backwards. Whoops. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the key by 180, save that, and then reopen Hytale. And there we have, our key is now in our hand. And because we use the iron sword as a template, we can swing it like a sword. We can go up to this grizzly bear, as we see. We can attack it, and it will deal some damage. So the key has all its functionality. However, its name isn't in, and you haven't been able to implement your own custom damage. I'm going to go and show you how to do all of that just now. Once you're happy with the key and where it's positioned, or your weapon and how it's positioned, you can go back to the asset editor, show all properties. You can set the level of the item. So for now, it's using level 20. And then you can set the quality of the weapon by clicking here, quality, uncommon, item, item quality, and you have a few to work with. So we're going to go with legendary for the moment. However, if you want to create your own custom ones, you're more than welcome to, and that can change the style of it in your inventory. We're then going to scroll down just to see a few things. The translation properties is here. If we want to update the name of the weapon, we're going to rename this to what we named it in our languages file to begin with. So instead of weapons underscore sword underscore iron, we're going to call it key underscore sword. That will update the actual file name for us. You can, of course, have the descriptions and everything else included as separate things as well. As you can see, there's even templates here if you were just going to grab a few items. And as you can see, the actual name has been updated to Golden Key. We're going to show all properties, scroll down, and here we can do a few things with our weapon. As we can see, we have a recipe, we have the input of what is required, and we know that previously the iron sword uses ingredient underscore bar underscore iron. If you were to find the gold bar, you can rename it to gold, or if you have your own custom items, you use the item ID. The item ID is the same thing that you named it here. So key underscore sword is this item's item ID. You can set the quantity, same with here and here as well. And then it has a primary output of one of this item. You can also list a bench requirement. So here has a weapon bench. I'm pretty sure if you removed this part, you wouldn't need to use a bench at all. This is where it is stated as a weapon. And you can add stat modifiers. So you can change how many signature charges the weapon has by going into here. And then setting this here. So we're going to say that this sword now has 3 signature charges. Ignore the error because it just didn't want the calculation to be null. We continue to scroll down. We can see the durability of the weapon here. We're going to set that to 500. We're going to lower the durability loss to 0.01 because nobody likes durability. Well, I don't mind, but sure. Most people don't. Now, if we scroll down to interaction vars, these are all the weapon interactions. If you wanted to use mace interactions, you take the information from a mace and you'd replace these with what the mace has instead. There is one catch with the interactions. You cannot change the damage here. What we have to do is go up to the top right, click on source, and then you can scroll down until you see it. Interaction vars, and then you can see each attack. If you haven't seen my JSON video, you can check it down below. I highly recommend it. It just breaks down the structure of these files so you understand how to handle them. But for this, all we have to do is change physical to 12 or whatever we want the damage to be. Every time we apply, it will bring us back to the top. But see, swing right damage, we might want it to do 32 damage. The swing down might need 42. 45 we'll go with. And the thrust will do 100. It's very unbalanced with this, but it's just for experimentation purposes. Once you hit apply those changes, they will be applied for once you re-equip the weapon in-game. We can go back to the editor, and if you want to change any other things, feel free to. But a cool one that you can do is if you click show all properties and scroll down a little bit, in weapon there is render dual wield, which will make the weapon appear like two weapons, one in each hand. However, we're not going to use that. We're going to equip our item. We're going to go back to Hytale, and now we can see our golden key has 3 signature charges, it's a legendary, and it's a one-handed. Now we're going to go back to that grizzly bear if he is still around. Here he is. And we're going to fight him. So now the damage was much higher and therefore we were able to kill it with ease. This is the simplest way for you to get your weapon into Hytale. You may notice that the signature ability does not charge when we fight. To fix that as well, if you go back to the Hytale asset editor, go to stat modifiers, and what you're going to add is in here, select Hytale, and you're going to go to signature energy. You're going to add to signature energy, target, max, calculation, additive, and we're going to do 100 for the moment. Once that's done, re-equip your item, go back into Hytale, and now it should charge it as you combat. So now, if we swing, it charges our signature as we combat. With that, you have learned how to make your own custom weapon in Hytale. In the next video, I'll be covering how to import your own custom NPCs and have them actually behave in the environment the way you want to. I won't show you how to import custom animations just yet, that will be in a more advanced guide. If you have enjoyed all this content, do consider dropping a subscribe and liking down below. And if you are planning on purchasing Hytale, do consider using code OSIP, as I am a Hytale partner. And with that, if you're also hosting your own servers, feel free to use my referral link below for 10% off Wikg Portal, because those are who I'm using for hosting and they've been great so far. Either way, that's everything for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next Hytale modding guide.